Buddy, maybe somebody on this front row, if I go to talking too fast, just do this. Just slow down a little bit. Because when I get excited, there's times when I get faster. Yeah, just slow down. I've told a few waitresses, dear, you're talking faster than I can hear. Just, but now I got hearing aids, and it's funny because Manny, they're jumping back and forth between somebody, I don't know who, so this might be interesting today. But we want to welcome you to Cowboy-up Ministry, horse training with a message, and we are working on hot topics. Does America have any hot topics? Oh, yes. Do we want to start with a 35 tree and we're in debt and still paying student loans? No, we won't go there yet. Come on up here, Dennis, and let's talk. Come on in. You told me how good your horse is. I want you to prove it. Now, if I know, but see, the horse is learning, so we got to coach you.
Yeah, I need some help.
Okay, get the microphone up there. A lot of people don't know you. Just to introduce yourself and a little bit about your horse.
Okay. Well, I'm Dennis Blunt. I've been here a time.
Let me see if I turn that on. That would help if I turned my end on.
Okay, I'm supposed to know. I'm supposed to know that, I guess. I don't know.
No, that's Deacon's job.
I'm Dennis Blunt, and I've been raising horses and training horses, riding horses all my life. And I'm excited about coming here and learning about God and horse training. Even though I've been doing it all my life, I still learn things from this guy because he knows things I don't. But this horse is just 2 years old in March, and I've had a guy come and ride him at the house probably 15, 16 times. And like I said, I'm just about ready to get on him. I have to be careful these days. I used to break babies when I was younger, but now I have to be cautious, and I don't want to get hurt. I was going to bring a thoroughbred mare that I bred. I bought and bred her, but I spent 30 minutes trying to get her in a trailer with a friend of mine. And we just couldn't get her in there. So I had to quit. I was soaking wet. Had to go change my shirt. And I had him in there above because I was going to tie him on the trailer so she wouldn't fret so much in here with him and drag him around. And I just couldn't get her in the trailer. And I said, I'm done. So I went back and put her in the stall. And she's probably soaking wet right now in that stall. But I had him in the trailer, and I thought, well, and then she called me and asked, are you coming? You bringing the horse? I said, I got you one. I'm on the way. So I just left him in here, and I had him here last week, I think it was. And last night I took him to his first barrel race over in Green Swamp at Stokes Arena, and I ponied him around, and I stood him on the trailer, and he didn't paw like you see him doing here. He's getting much better, much calmer. And I just wanted to get him out today, and I thought that he would encourage the thoroughbred to go in a trailer because I figured she was going to give me trouble. She always does a little bit, but today she just decided she wasn't going in there. She snatched me down and everything.
I'm going to give you a cowboy tip.
Okay.
Because I knew a whole lot more about cows than I did horses when I was growing up. But in an emergency, when you got a load, put your horse in the trailer, put the horse you want to load in a stall. Back up to the stall and scare them. They'll get in just like a cow. They will. I mean, it's the least forceful way you can do it. And I'm talking about.
I'd have to move my boat, but I got a spot. I could do that. I could do that, and I'm about ready to do that, but I don't really need to haul the mare. I bred her. I bought her for a brood mare. She just stay in the pasture, and I don't have to worry about her.
Yeah, but what happens is they get hurt, and you need to take them to a vet.
Yeah.
And you can't load them. Over the years, we've thanked the people at Turkey Creek Stables because they'll have a horse they can't load. One of the clients there be boarding the horse. We can't load him. We can't load him. And I always go to my go-to man, Kenny Rainey, because he's got a big, long trailer, big cow trailer. And we put the horse we can't load in the rail pen. And it's got a 5-foot gate. We back the trailer up to the gate. Kenny normally has one of his horses shut in the front petition. And I just get in there and scare them. And they jump right in. Because that's what, it always amazed me. I've been guilty. People, there's nothing you can do wrong with a horse that I have not done.
Right.
None of this come natural. You
that
may
means
not.
You're older than me.
Yeah. And I watch horse training videos most every week. I'm still learning. The more you know about horses and God,
Yes.
the more you realize you don't know. I mean,
I could have used your help this morning, that's for sure.
well, you know, if you're in a hurry, you're in trouble.
Well, I kind of was. I had 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I like to leave here at 10:30 and get on over here, or 10:20 actually, but she fought us the whole time, and I just put her in the stall. And he's really becoming a nice horse. I'm really liking him.
Any of you have somebody in your life that is just, how do I put this? And the best one I can think of is the Energizer Bunny, where they're just like, they talk 100 miles an hour and they can't be still, and like, we got to go. What are we going to do next? Here, what have you been doing all your life? They just got so much energy, and you're like, Well, that's the way this horse was with Dennis.
She was.
You know, he just came with more energy than she could handle.
Yep.
You know, it don't mean you were wrong or she was wrong. It was more than she could handle. And that's why we say when you deal with multiple horses, you have to be the energy they need. Now, sometimes you got to pick it up. Sometimes you got to pull it down. And that can be on the same horse on a different project. You know, I've had horses that was hyper that I had to back down, you know, before I walked in the rodeo arena. I had to calm them down. And then I had horses that was just like, okay, I don't care what we're doing. Then you got to hype them up a little bit because it's a timed event. Yeah. So you got to work with how they, one of my favorite sayings, and I'm better with horses than I am people. You got to ride the horse you have that day because they're not the same horse every day. And it's the same way with people. You have to work with the person in front of you because sometimes they're excited and they're happy and everything's going good, and sometimes they just went to a funeral. You see, you got to work with who's in front of you, and when you learn to do that, life's a whole lot easier.
Yeah, I'd like to get her over here for you. She's something. She's a handful. I'm wondering how she's going to act in here.
Be sure Tegan gets your address. We may come to your house and help you. I want to see you get a lead rope and go mess with your horse a little bit.
You said he was scared of me. I catch him every day in a big lot, and I thought, well, if he was scared of me, he wouldn't let me catch him.
Well, you know, he was just saying he's not scared of you because he can go catch him, and there's a lot of truth to that. But what he doesn't like is all of your energy.
Well, I've had him scared of me.
Yeah.
And I don't want him scared.
Yeah. Okay. Put a halter on and let's see you work a little bit. What am I going to do with this? I'll bring it over here. What do you got to say, Tegan? Good morning.
Good morning. What do you want me to say?
Good morning. I'm trying to stay down.
You were showing me something that I didn't really have a clue. Is make him move over?
Huh?
He just stands there. I don't do with my horses like that. I don't train like that. I don't really know how.
Well, here's what we want to accomplish. And this was more of my horse training world. You know, when I took horses that had never had a halter on them, I wanted to teach them to move their 5 body parts. And that head, move away from me is one of them. Their shoulders, their hips, their ribs. And that way, no matter what advanced trainer they took them to, they could run barrels, they could team rope, they could go to any event because they had the basics. It's like you graduated from high school, but you haven't gone to college to get a career. But
she showed me the. See, he won't move.
Well,
but I ain't never
here's what you got to be careful of doing that is the thin line between being desensitized. That means I wiggle the rope and you don't move, or move. Now, before you mess with the horse, come on in, Tegan.
And if you would, Skip, or repeat the things that he's saying because we're only getting your side of the conversation.
Okay. And, you know, you're just saying the horse isn't moving for him, and it's because he's given the wrong cues. And we're gonna demonstrate here a little bit because Tegan's gonna move me. You can get a stick if you want to. Because here's the deal. horses have to understand the difference between desensitized, which means be still, and sensitized means move with energy or touch. You know, I had a lot of difficulty years ago working with horses that was totally, I don't remember what level it was, 1, 2, or 3, Pirelli trained, because it was all energy. And if you touched them, they got mad. Guess what? I got to touch you to ride you. I got to put a leg or a rein on you, and they would get mad because they only had one form. So here's one thing I want you to get with. I want you to look where your hand's at.
Right now?
Yeah?
She told me that that's where I've always put it because I've raised racehorses.
You ain't racehorsing no more. Look, wait a minute. Watch this. He can't bite you over there.
I see you doing that.
Let him be a horse.
I want him to get, you know.
Here's what happens. I'm controlling you. I want you to control yourself.
She explained that to me.
Boy, he's going to be a slow learner, isn't he?
Yes.
I am.
I understand. I was too.
To put that in action is a whole different story.
Okay,
you know?
just if he comes in on you, just shake him back.
Get him to move.
Just shake him back if he gets too close. Now, I want you to use a little. We want Dennis to watch him, but I want you to use a little energy to demonstrate what this horse needs to see to move or not move. Because when we start desensitizing, desensitize me, Tegan. Yeah, because I don't trust her. I'm going to look when I hear noise. I understand the horse. Sometimes you just don't, there's a limit to what you can trust and not trust. So, but then when you want them to move, your energy changes. It's a different kind of energy. It's a focused energy. I use the illustration all the time. There's a difference between a lion that's like this and a lion that's like this. That's what the horses see. So now you can move me if you think you can.
What do you want, energy or physical pressure?
Whatever it takes to move me.
Okay. Well, so the first thing I would do is I want to give my horse a cue. Now, it depends on whether I want to just be touching or use an energy pressure. So right now I'm going to choose an energy pressure. So my cue is going to be, I need you to move over here. So this hand would have the lead rope in it, and I'm going to whack him in the face. This hand would have the lead rope in it, and it would put a little bit of a feel on that halter as the lead rope pulls over. So I'm saying, I need you to shift over here. And he's going, I don't know that I feel like listening. So I may take my lead rope. I may even take my hand, or if I've got a stick and I need to be that far away, which I don't need to be that far away, so I'm not going to use a stick, but I would take my hand and I'd say, all right, I need you to move over right now. Okay, cool. Both the cue and the consequence go away as soon as he moves.
Now, I'm going to show you two different ways, Dennis. I'm going to show you.
He keeps edging up to me. I've had him back, but he just keeps edging up.
Who's winning?
So Dennis just said that the horse keeps edging up to him.
He does. And then I've been watching y'all, and then I'll turn
And he
around,
sneaks
he's
up,
right
yeah.
there.
And that's hard. Training, you have to be focused on what's happening. That's why I always have Tegan watching for me when I'm talking to people. I want to show you a couple things, and I'm just going to work with what Tegan did. You can sit down for just a second, or just you don't have to get out. Just stay over by Tegan. This was when we started Cowboy-up Ministry 17 years ago, a little bit. I knew I needed more information than what I had about horses, because I just grew up on a working cowboy ranch. Then I got into rodeo, and then I went to some clinics, and I learned how to make good team roping horses. But then I really got into wanting what they call natural horsemanship. And I realized that ain't really natural horsemanship. That's not how one horse treats another. That's natural horsemanship to me. And I learned a lot from horses. So, but what Clint Anderson would do, and this is one of the places where he would get them to where they, not on a long rope, but he would take this stick to where it's in front and back, and just steady pressure, steady, just bump, 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 until you get a move. Now, that isn't the move I wanted, and I should have stayed with him. Bump, 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 bump. He says, I'd just as soon stay here. So I just taught him, that's desensitizing. Don't move, buddy. Here's my problem. When I go to saddle my horse, or I go to load my horse, or I go to do something, I don't have a stick. So I want to use my hands and my body language. So Dennis, if you will, come over on this side. So the camera can see, and you can see too, because this is what works for me. Something else might work for you, and I'm good with that. But I like to, when I get here, how do you mimic a horse? What would this mean? I'm going to bite you.
Nip, 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 nip.
They understand that quicker. That's something they can relate to in the horse world. Now, I want to be able to just go, but if they don't, I nip them. And you just rather bend their head than their feet. So you just got to stay until the foot moves. But it don't matter if I'm trying to move its head or I'm trying to move its hip. I look at the hip. That's all I wanted. But you got to quit when they move. Because if you keep the pressure up, then they're saying, well, that must not have been the right answer. They're looking for an answer. And what is the answer? Release. Leave me alone is what they're looking for. What happens is if we don't add to it, we want to start off. I literally, my horses, they had this down to where I could walk up and just point. And it'd go. But if they don't point, then you add to it. And that's all I wanted. But that's something that you got to get to. And what'll happen? Now we're getting into sensitizing them, which, in layman's terms, means I give you a cue and you move. Well, pretty soon they get scared again. Well, then you got to go back to petting them again. And there's always going to be this balance between petting them and being kind to them and being a partner with them and being a leader. Do what I ask you to do. There's always, and each day can be different, especially if it's a mare. I mean, it's just the way it is. Each day's different. Geldings are not so much. They don't have all them crazy hormones running crazy, so they kind of stay the same. Not all of them, but basically, most of them do. But yeah, I want to get them, and then. Oh, I see a deputy here. You hear from me? Oh, okay. Just want to make sure. You never know around me. What was I talking about? I forgot what.
It encourages me to get on him.
Well,
I'm trying to get my courage up to get on him and not worry about him hurting me. And him standing there like that is giving me.
No.
That ain't right.
No. It's not how they be still. It's how they move with confidence. Isn't that a little bigger, Tegan? Tegan, you got something to say about that?
Well, Dennis is saying that how he's standing still is encouraging him to get on him.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with Skipper. It's not how well they stand still, because any horse can stand still. They can be frozen in fear and be standing still. But when they move,
let me work with you. You can go sit down a little bit.
It's how they move. Are they moving smooth? Are they moving confidently? Are they moving with responsiveness to your aids? It's not how well they stand still.
Now, I'm going to say I've learned so much from Tegan and Nancy Slater about watching how they move. And how many of you know there's different personalities in the world? And we study personalities. And just let me give you an idea of my personality and Kathy's. Kathy's personality's like baseball, and she loved to watch baseball. Baseball was way too boring for me because I'm a basketball player. So, in baseball is more like Tegan. I want to see you go to first, second, third to get to home. I play basketball. You can shut your eyes and throw it behind your back. If it goes in, it counts. And I have more of a tendency to do my horses that way. I don't care whether you like it or not. Just do it. It's more of that, and now I'm not that bad, but I used to be. So we want to do that. The difference is Tegan looks for the smoothness in the beginning, and I look for it more down the road. Get doing it, and then you can get good at it. Where she wants them to be, all these things when they do it the first step. And I agree with that if you're as good a trainer as Tegan is. But not everybody can do that. And it's time consuming in the beginning. Now, 30, 60 days down the road, you have got a very gentle, obedient horse. But how many deal with their horses every day for 60 days? So they go back and forth. But anyhow, do you ever lunge your horses?
Yes, my rider lunges in 10, 15 minutes before he gets home.
Okay.
He lunges good.
Okay.
I'll probably use a pony horse to jog and gallop it before I ride.
Well, and part of this goes back into your racehorse world.
Yes.
It's all about keep them going in a straight line. Where these barrel racing horses, we want them bending and giving to us. Totally, there couldn't be a more different world than barrel racing and racehorsing.
Yeah, I just want him warmed up
Yeah.
before I get on him.
Yeah. I'm just going to ask him to go that way, and look, he goes the other way.
So Dennis said that his rider lunges him 10 to 15 minutes before he gets on him.
Now, I like this. Now, what I don't like about most people that says they lunge their horses for 15 minutes, what they're trying to do is get them tired. I don't want my horse tired before I ride him. I want him listening to me.
Yeah, I want to get on him at the barn and ride him off. Eventually, I will, but I guess he's still.
But what I'm going to say, and I'm trying to be, he's wanting to be quiet, so I'm trying to let him be quiet. But rather than make him tired, I want a communication with his brain. So how many questions can I ask him? So when you're lunging, I didn't say stop. So I'm just going to ask him keep going. Now, what I'm saying is, while I'm exercising him, how many ways can I ask him a question? Now, Tegan's excellent at it about their speed control while they're going. She's looking for their head, their ears, the walk, the trot, the whatever. I'm more into, hey, I'm over here and you need to go that way now. I want to ask a question and get an answer. I want to ask a question and get an answer. Now it's going to become more about focused on me and getting some bend in my body. See, when I start asking these questions, he starts getting hyper. See, this is what you got to get before you get on them. I don't want you hyper because you don't know the answer. And that's part of his issue. And he's do any of you get anxious when you don't know the answer? Have you ever heard one of those stories that says, don't do this at home? Tegan knows. Here he comes. I can't not be a cowboy but so long. Because I want to make this horse and then find peace with me. Because there's going to be things that's going to scare him. There's going to be things in this world that's going to scare you. Our church has to move, and I don't know where we're going. Don't scare me. We've had to move 4 other times. God's always provided. You know, but until you've done it, you don't know. So he's never done this like, oh my goodness, I'm scared of you. Oh, but you're a good guy. So this is one of the places where I press the envelope a lot more than Tegan and Nancy does. But my way will resonate with you a lot better. But it's just like we're going to watch his mind go from one place to another and hopefully back. And what I want to illustrate with you is I want you to think you're this horse with the trainer, and your trainer's God. Because there's going to be things in life that you don't understand and it scares you. And you're going to overreact. Do any of you overreact? I'm not concerned about how good you are. I'm concerned about how you react to something bad. That's my deal. I want to know how you're going to react when you can't handle it. So that's where we're going to go. I like this, so the horse is telling me it can handle this. But instead of just going around and around, I'm like, I want this horse looking at me and thinking about me. And then I'm just going to do its hips and say, I had a lot of energy and I took it all away, and I want to see where he's going to go. How well did he handle that? How well do you handle it? Better yet, how long does it take you to get over it? Because we're not like horses. When we get scared, we're scared. It does hormones in our body, and we're scared for hours. When a horse gets scared, they're scared until they think the threat has gone away, and then they just... This is one of my things. You will not learn from anybody you're not focused on. And this gets focused. The more you get after them, the more focus you get. The more you ease around them, the more they daydream and look other places. And now, I wouldn't do that on every horse, but I knew I could do it on this one. And licking his lips and saying, dang, I just got scared, but it's okay. People, when you don't have the answers to life, it's okay because God does. But when you do that, boy, it's amazing how sometimes, and you want to come back and say, hey, I'm okay. And I want to say, you know, this isn't an enemy. But if you don't let them know that it's not an enemy, for all they're concerned is it was a rattlesnake rattling its rattles. It was moving fast and making a noise. So you got to come back and desensitize them. And I normally take it away from them before they lose interest in it. Just seems to work better for me. Now notice, my body's not facing him. So I don't have that energy that's telling him to go. My body's telling him to be still. If you could see God's body, he would say, people, calm down, it's okay. I got it. And this might be pushing the envelope a little bit. I wouldn't, and I say I wouldn't, and I never do. Any horse I ever trained, if this is the horse, if I can't do this, I'll never get on him. If he can't take that pressure, I'm not getting on him. If you can't take the pressure of the unknown, I'm not just about getting a horse over their fears. I want them to know that I will help them get over their fears. That's why, and it depends on the horse and what I've done. They're really scared of plastic bags. Well, I put 25 plastic bags around my barn one time with the wind blowing and said, get over it. But they got over it without me. I didn't like that. See, God don't want you to just get through life. He wants you to get through life with Him. And that's how things are going to change. It's like things in the world's going to scare them. I don't care how good you stand still. I don't want you doing that. I had this deal to where, the most of my life, it was with athletic, a lot of them was barrel racing and rodeo type horses. They're athletic. What that means, they can buck really hard. And I wanted them to learn, when I jump, you don't move. I can ride that. But it comes back, and we call it be scared in place. I don't care if you're scared, just don't move. I want to be over here and say, this is where the round pen's good because I can just kind of block them. All he knows is go. He don't know how to take pressure. All he knows is go, because that's either what comes natural or what he's been taught. And this is the beginning right here. Now, you do this out there in that open field, and he's going to drag you to the watermelon block. I actually, the round pen works nice for more things, but I would rather do this in an alleyway or something where they don't drag me from side to side. But it's the beginning of, okay, didn't move his feet. I'm going to stop on that. Now, is his attention on the world or me? But I'm not going to try to hold him still. I'm just going to try to block him so he don't drag me around. Only thing I want to control is his nose. As long as I can get his nose to look at me, I'm good. When all hell breaks loose in your life, in this horse's mind, it just did. I don't know. I'm scared. What am I going to do? What are you going to do? Is what's going through his horse's mind. And I want to see how long does it take for him to start dropping his head, looking around, and washing his mouth out. And my question is, how long does it take you when things aren't going the way you want it to go? When we've got all these hot topics in America that we keep avoiding because we don't want to talk politics or religion. How many hot topics do we have? I started listing them, and it's like, man, that's enough to be depressing. 35 trillion in debt, and we're paying off student loans? Like, wow. And did you notice, I just, I don't watch much news at all. I'm going to tell you. We're actually going to come up with some people that we're going to give you the information who you need to listen to, because with AI coming out, you can't even, AI has the ability to video me and make me say words that I did never say. But if you're watching the video, you'll say, I saw Skipper in a video say so-and-so. No, I didn't. They have that capability. So we got to be careful. You got to know someone well enough to know, no, that's not what they said. I promise you. But did you notice back, when was it? When did they have all the big riots? I lose track of time. 2020, when they were burning down cities and all that. Did you notice, did you see any of the newsreels where there was bus loads of paid rioters that came in? And there was pallets of bricks laid in special places. Do you know there's over 500 bricks on a pallet? You see, it was bought and paid for. And so much that's happening in America today is bought and paid for by the billionaires that does not want God in America. They're anti-God, and they're buying and paying for all of this chaos that makes us think the world is falling apart. It's not. There's a small percentage, in fact, Facebook may not see it, but on our bulletin, my sermon today, my message is when the tail wags the dog. I used to have a little hunting dog, a little working dog, and when I'd say, his name was Toddy, and I was little. He was one of my first dogs. I said, Toddy, how you doing? And his tail was about that long, and he'd wiggle the whole thing. And we've got, what I want you to know is that tail represents a minority, and the body represents the majority. Oh, man. I'm going to get after him one more time, and then I'm going to let him sit, because I need to go on, because I want to take you someplace with me today. Now, I don't want him circling me, because then they just get faster and faster. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit and say there's two different ways to do this. You get as far away as you can, and you do it slow until they're okay with it. And then each 10 minutes, you get a little closer or a little faster. That is a way to do it for the hyper horses that want to leave. That's a better way to do it with him. Rather than, if you got one of those old, fat couch potatoes, you just shake it and let them run till they get tired and they say, I don't care. That's not him, because you've been getting him in shape. No, I can lunch for 15 minutes. I'm fine with that. So he's more the type that rather than do it the way I did, I just wanted the reaction to let him know you can get excited and come back down, that you start off slow and gentle. How much can you do and they don't move? And you stop before they do move. That's horse training. That's being able to look at him out of the corner of your eye, and he's like, oh, he's already got his legs crossed. Like, I'd just as soon leave. So let's just come over here and uncross them legs. Okay. But you got to find a starting point that they're not scared of. And every one of you have got to find a starting point with God that you're trusting him. Because that's what this is about. I trust you doing what you're doing. If you do too much, I don't trust you. But this is a starting point. Worry begins where trust ends. You can't worry and trust God at the same time. So your worry begins where your trust ends. And that's what I'm looking for him right here. And a lot of times they want to look away from you because they want to avoid it. I want to read a couple things while he's thinking about this. And then they get where they won't leave because they're like, oh no, you've done scared me. And then you go back and teach them to lead again. Now, a hot topic. You know that there's some people that believe between 8 and 10 million illegals have come in? Now, I don't know how many of them is going to vote, but I'm just saying. Why does kindergartners need drag queens to read them stories? Or better yet, why does drag queens need to tell stories to kindergartners? See, these are all hot topics. I heard the best one the other day. And some of you, maybe this is old news to all of you, and I'm the slow one. I believe that because I don't watch much. But did you know here a while back there was schools that was putting litter boxes in the bathroom because the children had developed fur baby clubs and they identified as cats? I talked to Jeremy today, and he said he had a friend or kinfolk or somebody that was a custodian, and they quit because they refused to put a litter box in the bathroom for the kids. See, that's standing up for what you believe. I really liked the deal that I heard about the little boy when he was eating dinner one night with his mom and daddy, and he told him, he says, well, I've decided I'm going to identify as a fur baby. I'm going to be a cat. And I need this, and I need that, and I need a litter box. And his dad says, no, you don't want to do that, son. I've made up my mind. You've made up your mind. Dad, I'm gonna be a fur baby. So his dad just got up, went over and got the broom and swapped the crap out of him and said, get off my table, you cat. Get over there in the corner. Get outside and catch a rat. That'll end the fur baby stuff. But if we don't put an end to it, it's going to keep going, because where is it coming from? Is it coming from God, or is it coming from Satan? These are just a few hot topics that I came up with. And, we've still got, just this week, there was another man that won in a woman's event. They still haven't stopped it. In Washington, it just happened. Why do we let men? This guy was in track and field, and he was 30 yards in front of the closest woman. But his time would have put him in last place with the men. And we allow it? Shame on us. Now, if we really want to get particular, and just stick with me. Don't turn the TV off until you hear the end of it. But when we get into churches performing gay marriages, the churches are not godly. When we get into churches having gay and lesbian preachers, the churches are not godly. Now, y'all keep amening me, and you're going to get more than you want. It reminds me of this story about the preacher that, the audience was just silent. And finally, he told a group of them, he says, don't you know amen? Saying amen is like saying sick 'em to a dog. And the guy says, you don't say sick 'em when he's chewing on your leg. I want you to think of this statement, write it down. It's a good statement to use. I've really been following Chris Voss, a lot of his stuff lately, because we got to find a better way to negotiate with those that don't believe the same as we do. Okay? I'm just going to leave that. Negotiation works everywhere. Where are you going to eat at night? You negotiate everything in life just about. But one of his comments, it says, make a statement that they don't agree with. In other words, and this is a statement that you can make. You know who agrees with us and who don't, and that's okay. But make a statement, kind of like this. So, you believe America would be better without God? Now, how many is going to agree to that? Now, if they say that they believe America would be without God, put that in your memory bank, and don't have any dealings with them. Do not bargain with Satan. Get away from him. I want to kind of share where I was going with this, because it amazes me how God, uses me and how the sermons fall in order when I didn't even plan it. Last week it was all about do not promote your sin. And I've said it. Everyone is welcome here at Cowboy-up Ministry. We've had gays, we've had lesbians, we've had alcoholics, we've had drug addicts, we've had a whole list of things. And they're welcome here, and we love them. But you cannot promote your sin while you're here. And that's what got me this week. When I open my phone and I go to the calendar, and I'm on my calendar every day looking at putting something on or reminding me of what's coming up. And when yesterday said LBGQ Pride Month on my calendar and I didn't put it there, now you're pushing it down my throat. Nobody wants the Bible pushed down their throat, and I am tired of those who promote it pushing it down our throat. And we have taken it for how many years? Too long. Well, when I talked about, and I have to look up what does LBG and all that stuff stand for, but let God be truth. LBGT. Let God be truth. And I'm going to show you in God's Word what He thinks of LBG. But before I get there, what I want to talk to you about is this dog and his tail. And I want to say for today, now next week it may be different. But for today, that tail represents the LBG community that is promoting it. And the dog represents we the people of the United States. And what does we the people believe? We the people believe in the Constitution. And the Constitution was formed by people who believed in God, or at least believed in godly principles and morals. The country cannot live without godly principles and morals. There's no telling what's going to happen by the end of the week, and you'll know more about it later. But we got to make people divide the line. We've got these people in office that have signed their name that they agree to the Constitution, but they're not following it. We got people that are in office, and before their meetings they do the Pledge of Allegiance. And what does it say? It says, "I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands for, one nation under God, indivisible." Now you can't say that and live like this, because the two don't go together. And they need to be held accountable. Which one are you following? God or Satan? Which one are you promoting? Because if you promote it, you're following it. That's how you tell. We got back. There's not a person here that is without sin. I'm not without sin. The difference is I'm not promoting my sin. I hate my sin. And that's where we got to draw the line for those who are promoting it. I'm going to read. It's a hot topic, and we don't know how to answer it when the LBGQ +2, I don't even know what the +2 stands for, community, when they say, you got to love us. God loves everybody. And they always use these things about God as love. And I want to read to you what God says about the topic. Now, I'm going to start a little bit ahead to give you some background, and you can find this in Romans chapter 1. It's quite a bit of reading, but I want you to know what God says. It doesn't matter what I think, but it matters what God thinks. I'm going to set the stage here. This is Romans chapter 1, verse 16. "For I'm not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes. First for the Jew, then for the Gentile. For the gospel, a righteousness from God is revealed. A righteousness that is by faith from the first to the last, just as it's written, the righteous will live by faith." And then it talks about the wrath of God. The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of men who suppress the truth by their wickedness. Since that may be known about God is plain to them, because God has made it plain to them. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, His eternal power and divine nature, has been clearly seen, being understood from what is been made so that man are without excuse. For although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God nor gave thanks to him, but their thinking became futile, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools, and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images made to look like mortal man and birds and animals and reptiles. Therefore, God gave them over to their sinful desires, for their hearts to sexual impurity, for the degrading of their bodies with one another. They exchanged the truth of God for a lie. They exchanged the truth for a lie and worshipped and served created things rather than the Creator, who is forever praised. Because of this, God gave them over to shameful lust. Even their women exchanged natural relations for unnatural ones. In the same way, the men were abandoned natural relations with women and were inflamed with lust for one another. Men committed indecent acts with other men and received in themselves the due penalty of their perversion. Furthermore, since they did not think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God, God, gave them over to a depraved mind to do what ought not to be done. They have become filled with every kind of wickedness. Now I want to stop right there for just a second. When you're really mad at somebody, and now I know no one in here has ever cussed anybody out. How many adjectives do you use? You know, blah, 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 blah. Well, most of us have been guilty of it. Do you know what they did? Blah, 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 blah. I want you to listen to the adjectives that God uses against the people he just described. They have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, depravity. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, malice. They are gossips, slanderers, God haters, insolent, arrogant, boastful. They invent ways of doing evil. They disobey their parents. They are senseless, fatherless, heartless, and ruthless. Although they know God's righteous decree that those who do such things deserve death, they not only continue to do these very things, but they approve of others who practice them. I'm sure that if we got invaded by another country and we needed the military to jump out there, there's a bunch of men that says, I'm packing already, let's go. Or let me run home and I got some more ammo at the house. That's not the kind of war we're fighting. We're fighting a war where we got to stand against evil. You know, I'll probably go back and do the series again I did 4 years ago in 2 Chronicles 7:14, where it says, if my people. See, God's not talking about we got to change them. He's talking about if my people will humble themselves and do the right things, then I'll heal the land. So we got to get to that my people part. Now, what really got me this week is I had already seen my calendar and I didn't like it because I think it's pushing it down my throat now. You know, Disney World, you get a discount if you wear a red shirt the month of June and declare having an alternative lifestyle. Pushing it down our throat. I looked it up on the website last night, Disney World, and they're now proud of the 10 movies they have. Some of them, the main characters are gay or lesbian that they're showing our children of Disney World. So they're pushing it everywhere. And then I get an email from Debbie Hunt. And it says the Hillsborough County School Board is going to meet Tuesday at 4 o'clock. and that they are going to review the LGBTQ Pride Month for the schools. They're going to recognize. People, let me tell you, if we only recognize the men and women who died last week, Memorial Day, if we only recognize them one day, then LBG only gets one day. They are pushing it down our throat because that's what Satan does. This is not a war against people. This is a war against Satan, good and evil, right and wrong. So what do? You know, we've heard it over and over and over and over again. Stand. Now, I'm going to tell you how easy this can make it. Now, Steve could probably give me the answers, but I don't really care the facts of it. But through CDF and some of the other organizations in Texas a while back, and it really helps if you have a mega church. If you have a mega church that believes the way we believe, they had so many people go to the school board meeting, they had to change locations because there wasn't enough room. Now, you may not can pick up a weapon and you may not can shoot somebody, but I have already signed up to speak at that school board meeting. And I'm going to tell them what God says and what the Pledge of Allegiance says, and you cannot serve both. You choose, school board members, which one you're going to serve. Now, I'm sure that by then I'll tone it down a little bit, but right now it's the way I believe. You can't say the Pledge of Allegiance, one nation under God, and promote LGBTQ. The two don't go together. So you choose which one you're going to serve. And here's what I'm asking for. Would it be unreasonable to ask y'all to come to the meeting and be there early so there's no place for them to sit? That we would so outnumber them, the school board members would, oh, wow. Because the dog is tired of the tail wagging us. We, the people, have got to show up in numbers. So it's at, Kathy, can you put the bulletin, the information's in our bulletin. It's, I don't know, 901 Kennedy Boulevard in Tampa. Starts at 4. I'm going to get there at 3. And I hope, I'm going to, if Facebook don't shut me down, I'm going to see how many people I can get there for that meeting. Because I want the school board members to know that the dog is bigger than the tail. That there's more God-fearing people than there is little groups run by Satan. The 10% can no longer rule the 90%. So, I can't think of an easier way to stand for what we believe than to just be present and be counted. Because they count you. They want to know how many people are there. And for the next couple of days, I'm going to be on Facebook all over, inviting. One of the problems is it's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I have to work. Well, if we got invaded from another country, would you go to work? We're invaded. We have been invaded, and we've done nothing about it. Now, I agree. I haven't been to a school board meeting yet because I haven't seen anything that I wanted to fight for. I'm ready to fight, just so you know. Get back. But I want you to pray about what is your part of saving this country. Whether it's through helping one of the organizations financially or just showing up for a school board meeting to be counted. You can see Debbie back there in the back. She's got her hand up. She can give you information where if you can't go, there's a place where you can send them an email. And it don't have to be a long one. It can be a short one. You cannot serve good and bad at the same time, and we want to serve God. I don't care how you word it, but it's time that God's army stands up. Let's pray. Father God, we thank you that none of this catches you by surprise. That all through history, people have drifted away from you and you sent hardships and we decided to come back. When we look at all the things that's going wrong in America, we should see it as a hardship. And all of these things that are happening, Lord, I understand that it's just the absence of you. These hot topics are not issues. The issues is the absence of you, Lord. And we want you back. We want you back in our lives and in our homes and in our community and in our churches and in our schools and in our courthouses, in school board meetings, in Disney World. We want you back. And Lord, I pray that you will open our eyes and our ears and our hearts and help us to be your hands and feet and voice, that we will proclaim we serve the living God, the creator of the heavens and the earths, and he is against this, so therefore we will be against this. Lord, and don't let us get arrogant and prideful, because we're all sinners. Lord, let us be after the enemy, not the people. Let us be after those who are promoting this stuff, not the ones that are just entrapped by Satan. I don't ever want to be known as the church that shoots its wounded. I want to be known as the church that says, people, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Come back and find peace. But Lord, we need your help and your wisdom, and we know you'll supply it. Give us the courage we need, the desire we need to go forth and do well. And we ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen. Monday night classes, Wednesday night classes are all on board. See you later.